Before $100,000, money is a problem. It is always, without exception, something you don't have enough of. You are constantly calculating. Can I afford this? Should I spend this? If I buy this today, what am I giving up next week? Money feels like this invisible wall standing permanently between you and the life you actually want to be living. Every financial decision carries this low-level anxiety. You check your balance before you go out with friends. You hesitate at the grocery store. You feel a spike of stress every time an unexpected bill shows up. And that stress doesn't just stay in the money department. It bleeds into every area of your life. Your relationships, your work performance, your ability to think creatively, your mood when you wake up in the morning. And then something switches. When you hit $100,000 for the very first time in your life, money starts feeling like a tool instead of an obstacle. You stop operating from scarcity and you start operating from possibility. This isn't just motivational language, this is backed by serious research. There's a concept called the scarcity mindset, and researchers at Harvard and Princeton found that when people are experiencing financial scarcity, their cognitive bandwidth is literally reduced. Not metaphorically, literally. Their measured IQ scores drop in experiments. They make objectively worse decisions under conditions of scarcity. Not because they are less intelligent, but because their brain is constantly running a background program day and night called, "How do I survive this month?" When you hit $100,000 and you have genuinely built that cushion, that background program slows down and eventually quiets, and suddenly you have more mental bandwidth for everything else in your life. You think more clearly at work. You make smarter investment decisions. You are less reactive and more patient in your relationships. You become more creative, more strategic, more able to think 3 steps ahead instead of just surviving the present moment. This is why the old saying, "It takes money to make money," isn't only about capital. It is fundamentally about cognition. Wealthy people are not inherently smarter than everyone else. They simply have the mental space to think more clearly, more consistently, and with less static in the background. The second shift. Your relationship with time transforms completely. Here is something wild that happens after $100,000 that almost nobody in the personal finance space talks about openly. Your relationship with time changes in a way that is so profound, it will affect every single decision you make going forward. Before hitting 6 figures, most people trade time for money in a direct and often desperate way. You pick up extra shifts. You say yes to every freelance gig that comes along. You work weekends without even stopping to question whether it's worth it. You grind through exhaustion. Because every single hour represents survival, and survival doesn't negotiate. After $100,000, you start asking a question you may have literally never asked yourself seriously before. Is this the highest and best use of my time right now? Suddenly, you are calculating the real cost of your hours. If you are earning $80,000 a year, your time is worth roughly $40 an hour. So, when you spend 3 hours on a Saturday doing something you could pay someone else $15 an hour to handle, you are technically losing money. You are destroying value. And people who have crossed the $100,000 mark, whether in savings or in income, start to genuinely internalize this math. They stop doing their own taxes when a good accountant costs less than the time they waste on it. They start delegating tasks at work. They pay for time-saving services. They stop treating suffering through inconvenience as a badge of honor. But here's the trap, and I want to be very honest with you about this. This mental upgrade is also one of the most dangerous if you apply it incorrectly, because some people swing too far in the opposite direction. They start outsourcing things that don't actually need to be outsourced. They lose skills they should maintain. They begin confusing busyness with productivity, and they start paying to avoid discomfort rather than to create real leverage in their lives. The people who go from $100,000 to $1 million understand this distinction deeply. They ask a more nuanced question. Does outsourcing this create actual leverage, or am I just being lazy? Because there is a massive difference between paying someone to handle your bookkeeping so you can spend that time building a new revenue stream, and paying someone to handle things you're simply too comfortable to do yourself. One builds wealth. The other quietly erodes it. The third shift. The people around you start to change. This one is uncomfortable to talk about. It might even be the part of this video that stings a little. But it is real, and pretending it isn't real would be doing you a disservice. When you start building wealth seriously, your social circle will shift, and it will happen whether you engineer it or not. It is almost impossible to prevent, because the shift is driven not by arrogance or ego, but by genuine changes in values, priorities, and the way you see the future. Some people in your life will respond to your growth with genuine happiness. They will be inspired by what you built. They will ask questions, want to learn, and tell you they're proud of you. Those are your people. Protect those relationships with everything you have. But some people, and this might include individuals you have known and trusted for years, will respond very differently. You'll start to notice small things. A passive-aggressive comment about how you've changed. A joke about you being too good for us now. A subtle withdrawal, a pulling back, a coldness that wasn't there before. And the painful thing is that most of these people aren't doing it consciously. They don't even fully realize they're doing it. But your progress is holding up a mirror to their stagnation, and some people simply cannot stand to look at that reflection. Here is the brutal truth. After $100,000, you will begin naturally gravitating toward people who are at your level or actively working to get there. Not because wealth makes you a better person, not because financial success makes someone more worthy of friendship, but because conversations change. When you are thinking about index funds, tax strategies, passive income, and long-term financial independence, it becomes genuinely difficult to connect deeply with someone whose entire financial reality is wondering if they can afford to go out on Friday night. The gap in priorities creates a gap in connection. That is just the reality. The smartest people I've studied who went through this transition made a deliberate, intentional choice. They didn't abandon the people they loved, but they actively sought out new communities. They joined investment clubs, went to financial seminars, participated in online forums and mastermind groups with people playing the same game they were playing. Because the ceiling you can reach is shaped directly by the environment you live in. If everyone around you is thinking small, it becomes very, very hard to think big, no matter how disciplined you are. The fourth shift. Risk starts to look completely different before $100,000. Risk is terrifying, and that fear is completely rational and justified. If you have $2,000 in savings and you lose it, you are in a genuine crisis. So you stay safe. You keep your money in a savings account earning almost nothing. You don't start the business. You don't make the investment. You don't take the leap, because the potential downside is simply too heavy to survive. After $100,000, risk changes its shape entirely. Losing money is still painful. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but when you have a $100,000 cushion built underneath you, a $5,000 investment that goes to zero doesn't destroy your life. It stings. It's frustrating, but it doesn't end you. It doesn't mean you can't pay rent next month. It doesn't mean your family suffers. And this fundamental change in your financial floor completely transforms how you approach opportunity. This is why people who have crossed the $100,000 threshold tend to start investing more aggressively, launching side businesses at higher rates, making bolder career moves, and taking calculated risks that would have been genuinely irresponsible before. It is not that they have suddenly become brave. It's mathematics. They have a financial runway underneath them that allows for real experimentation. But there is something even deeper at work here. When you've built $100,000 through deliberate discipline and strategy, you have proved something to yourself that cannot be undone. You've proved that you can generate money, that you have the knowledge, the habits, and the character to build wealth from scratch. And that proof, that lived, embodied experience, removes a psychological barrier that stops most people from ever taking meaningful risks. The fear of, what if I lose everything, becomes dramatically less paralyzing because you know deep in your bones, I built this once. I can build it again if I have to. That belief is worth more than the $100,000 itself. It is the psychological bedrock that separates people who plateau at $100,000 from the ones who turn it into $500,000, $1 million, and beyond. The fifth shift: you stop chasing and start compounding. One of the most life-altering changes that happens after $100,000 is one that sneaks up on you. It happens slowly, invisibly, until one day you check your account and realize that the number grew significantly and you didn't do anything to make it happen. Your money moved while you were sleeping. This is compound interest at work. And when you finally feel it in real numbers, not in a textbook, not in a YouTube video, but in your actual account, it changes your entire understanding of wealth. When you have $100,000 invested at a conservative 7% average annual return, you are generating $7,000 per year without doing a single thing. Every single day, your wealth grows a little more on its own. Every year, you wake up and $7,000 more is added to your net worth while you were living your life, sleeping, working, spending time with people you care about. Before $100,000, you are working for your money 100% of the time. After $100,000, your money begins working for you in parallel. And as that base grows to $150,000 to $200,000 to $300,000, the portion of your total financial progress that comes from investment growth rather than active labor starts to increase. Your money's productivity starts to rival your own productivity, and eventually, for the people who stay the course, it surpasses it. At $500,000 invested, you are generating roughly $35,000 a year passively. At $1 million, roughly $70,000. At that level, your investment returns alone could cover a comfortable middle-class lifestyle. You have reached what is commonly called financial independence, the point where work becomes optional because your wealth sustains itself, and every single dollar of that journey starts with the first $100,000. That first milestone is the hardest. It is the slowest. It requires the most sacrifice per dollar gained. The compound curve is barely bending at this stage, but it is building. The engine is starting. And once it is running, every dollar you add from that point forward has exponentially more power than the early dollars did. Most people don't fully believe this until they experience it, because we are wired to think linearly. We save a bit, earn a bit more, save a bit more. We expect progress to feel consistent and steady. But wealth doesn't work that way. It is brutally slow at first and then almost shockingly fast later. And the only way to get to the fast part is to push through the slow part with enough discipline to build that foundational $100,000 base. The sixth shift. You become obsessed with learning. Here is a pattern I have noticed without exception in every high net worth individual I have studied or spoken to at length. After crossing $100,000, they become voracious, almost obsessive learners. And not only about money, about everything that could give them an edge. Because once you deeply understand that financial success is a function of knowledge, decision quality, and skill, not luck, not nepotism, not being born into the right circumstances, you start treating education as the single highest returning investment available to you. Think about the math for a second. A $20 book that teaches you one insight that earns you an extra $10,000 over the next year is a 50,000% return on investment. A $500 course that gives you a skill you monetize for the next decade outperforms almost any stock you could buy. A weekend with a mentor who has already built what you are building could be worth years of trial and error avoided. The wealthy read relentlessly. They listen to podcasts on topics that make them better investors, better operators, better thinkers. They ask questions in rooms where they are the least knowledgeable person present, because they understand that being the smartest person in the room means they are in the wrong room. They hire coaches. They pay for advisors. They actively seek out perspectives that challenge their current thinking, not because they believe they don't know enough yet, but because they understand that knowledge is their most durable competitive advantage, and staying sharp is how they continue to compound their results over time. The world changes, markets shift, new opportunities emerge. The person who keeps learning stays relevant and keeps winning. The person who stops learning starts falling behind, even if they don't feel it right away. The seventh shift. Your identity fundamentally changes. This is the deepest shift of all, and it is the one that takes the longest to see clearly, because it happens gradually beneath the surface until one day you realize your entire self-concept has been quietly rebuilt from the ground up. Before $100,000, most people think of wealth as something external. It's a goal in the future. It's something they hope to achieve one day. They say things like, "I want to be financially free someday," or "I'm working on getting my finances together." The language is all about distance. The wealth is out there, and they are trying to close the gap. After $100,000, that language changes. The distance collapses. You stop saying you want to be wealthy, and you start being someone who builds wealth. Not arrogantly, not loudly, but as naturally as a runner identifies as a runner even when they're not actively running. It becomes part of the story you tell yourself about who you are. And identity is the single most powerful driver of human behavior. When you see yourself as a wealth builder, as someone who is financially disciplined by nature, as someone whose default mode is to invest and grow and build, you make decisions from that identity automatically. You don't blow money on things that conflict with who you are. You don't let lifestyle inflation quietly destroy your progress. You don't accept mediocre returns and tell yourself it's fine. Because you are not someone who is just trying to get rich anymore. You are someone who builds real, lasting wealth. And that person lives, thinks, and acts in specific ways. This is also why lottery winners statistically so often lose their winnings within just a few years. They received the money without ever building the identity that sustains it. There was no psychological foundation for the wealth to rest on, and so it disappeared. But someone who built $100,000 through sacrifice, discipline, delayed gratification, and consistent smart decisions, they have constructed the identity alongside the balance sheet. And that foundation, the mental and emotional architecture of a wealth builder, is nearly impossible for circumstances to take away. The moment everything clicks. So let's bring all of this together, because I want you to truly internalize what crossing the $100,000 threshold actually means, so that whether you're at $10,000, $50,000, or already well past six figures, you know exactly what to expect and exactly how to navigate it. After $100,000, money stops being an obstacle and becomes a tool you can deploy. Your brain gets back cognitive bandwidth that scarcity was stealing from you. Your relationship with time transforms permanently. You start treating hours as the genuinely finite resource they are. Your social circle will evolve whether you plan it or not, and you have to be deliberate about who you keep close and who you let drift. Risk stops being paralyzing and starts being calculable. Compound interest begins working on your behalf in a way that will eventually feel almost magical. You become a lifelong obsessive learner because you finally understand that knowledge is the engine behind every financial result you will ever achieve. And your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you fundamentally are, changes forever. Here is the honest truth about $100,000 that most financial channels will never say directly. The money itself is almost secondary. What matters immeasurably more is the person you have to become in order to earn it, the discipline required, the delayed gratification practiced month after month, the resilience built through setbacks and bad months and moments where you almost gave up. The ability to play a long, patient game in a culture that screams at you constantly, to spend everything you have right now and deal with tomorrow later. That person, the one who built $100,000 from scratch through real, consistent effort, is worth more than the balance itself, because that person will build it again if they ever have to. And every time they will do it faster, smarter, and with less suffering than the last.